Ja ti ispriču, bukvalno sve sam znao. Pa ne, evo, znači ja sam bio, znači 21. sam bio u Srbiji, bio sam sada, vjerojatno neću ići.
Sarajevo me ne interesuje. Srbija mi je ostalo jako lijepo svijeća.
Lepo. Vidi, ali meni je lepo i ovo drugo zato što ne delim te traume.
I know, that's what I thought. I know.
To je tačno.
Tako da...
So, Milish, when you go over there, sorry, do you feel like, even though it's beautiful, you still feel like there's a trauma, there's still in the air?
One thing that you really feel is like, I get reminded of the mindset of the people. Like something that I lose over here, I get reminded over there. Like the mindset of Slavic people over there is constant nagging. So,
I know.
Something, no matter how good things are, they have to find something that is not good to talk about that.
Yeah.
Something like that, you know? And then I go over there and kind of connect to friends, family, and so on, and I don't have that attitude. You know, and they start talking about that, and I'm like, okay, so what's good? Let's talk about the good stuff. And for them, it's almost unfulfilling. Kind of, if it's not spiced up with some kind of drama, with some kind of like negativity, with something bad.
If you don't have something to complain about, it's not.
Yeah, we don't have what to talk about. If we kind of,
how's work good?
Are when we complain about the same thing.
Yeah. It's like, how's work good? How's family good? How's this? Everything's great. But this.
Yes, ne, sad ćeš samo što kažeš, ej, pitaj me kako mi je. Pa kako ti je, ma ne pitaj.
He's like,
guys, come on, grab a seat, let's start.
How do you translate that? He's like, hey, ask me how I am. Oh, how are you? Oh,
don't ask.
Don't ask.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
No, but seriously, like that Balkans mentality, it's just like that. Like it's like if everything is okay, you are either drunk or you're lying.
You are picking on me now.
Huh?
I'm the only one here. But in that mentality, there are still good things.
No, there is a lot of good things over there, just as over here. But it's what you put attention to. Like over here, we are putting an attention to the good things. And that is like, yeah, sometimes bad things happen, you put some bad things. But over there, people just thrive to see bad things, you know?
Yeah.
Thrive to see that something is wrong. And then we can bash it, you know?
But, you know, I think that the war brought some to that.
War was 30 years ago. Actually, no, not true. In Serbia, we had war in 2002. That's when I was drafted.
Okay. It's not a big difference, 91 and...
Yeah. Every like decade and a half, there's a war there.
Sorry.
Guys, come on, take a seat. I want us to start. Grab the food. Sorry, Mila. Huh? 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 Can you fit the whole one like without breaking it? Ah, that small one.
Cheers. Also next to me, I should
Sophia starts pouring.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You give me haircut though? Thank you, sir.
That was too big.
Come on, Vance, come here. Who's got the food? Who's got the food? Look at that.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
She didn't care about you, she just looked at that plate. Actually, he.
She's gonna be in this club in LA.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, I'm down. I don't know where we're going.
Okay, guys, let's start with, as usual, with our prayer of presence. What I would like us to do first, actually, I would like to start with some words of affirmation. So this morning, when I got up and while I was driving here, God just gave me some words of affirmation. I want to share it with you, and I want to challenge you to try to feel them and to take them with you in this prayer of presence that we will start with. And then after the prayer of presence, Laura is going to pray, and then we can start with our topic. So at least these were the thoughts that were crossing my mind this morning. I am loved. I am precious. I am embraced by God's love. I am so worthy of being a child of God. And today is an amazing day, and today is my day to grow in every sense of the way and grow closer to my God. This is what's been driving me this morning, and I challenge you to feel these words. Think about it. Can you relate? Because you should. Because all of these things apply to all of us here. So let's take 2 minutes. Let's take time for the prayer of presence. Focus on your presence here, on God's presence here, and let's start.
Father God in heaven, we want to thank you so much that you're here with us. And during the prayer of presence, I imagined you just being here with us, embracing us. I want to thank you so much for that. I think it's amazing that you can love us in a single moment more than anyone could ever love us in a lifetime. And how powerful that is. But you are so gracious and so giving. pray that you fill us with your Holy Spirit. I pray that you guide us and comfort us. And I pray that you lift up our eyes to you so that we can see you and you only. All glory to your name. In Jesus' name we all pray and thank. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, so what is your favorite fairy tale? Fairy tale. What is your favorite fairy tale? Huh? Dragon Ball Z. I thought that was a documentary. Why?
Because it's cool, man.
Because it's cool.
Somebody said Shrek.
Yeah. Shrek.
Shrek.
Wasn't it you?
Why Shrek?
Huh?
Why?
Because it teaches you
Oh.
that anybody can have a happily ever after.
Oh, okay.
I love that. Even Shrek.
All right, what about the rest of you? Shrek teaches you that everybody can have a happily ever after, no matter how ugly you are. Okay.
Can you put it in her bottle? The sippy cup?
Come on,
The straw?
give me some more, a few more. What is
I like Tangled.
Tangled?
Yeah.
Why?
You like the Rapunzel one?
Uh-huh.
Because I like that she escapes her tower. And she goes on an adventure.
Uh-huh.
So it's like she kind of gets to decide what her fairy tale ending is.
Uh-huh.
So she jumped out of the tower.
Okay.
Always use conditioner.
Huh?
Always use conditioner.
Always use conditioner. Yeah.
Okay. One more.
The sippy cup one, yeah.
One more. Come on.
Any of the Pixar movies? They always make me cry.
Come on, pick one. Or somebody, come on.
Mine was as a kid, 3 Billy Goats Gruff.
3 what?
Billy Goats Gruff. It was about 3 goats trying to cross the bridge, and each time it got stronger, but there was a ogre under the bridge.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of like to try to like overpower them, but then the last one killed them.
Uh-huh.
I had a very graphic fairy tale book as a kid.
Damn.
Okay, that sounds more like normal fairy tales. Like there is murder and
Yeah, it was like the old school fairy tales. They didn't butter it up.
Now, cool thing about fairy tales is all the fairy tales have a happy ending. You know, every single, and that's why we like them. You know, that's why fairy tales are so, you know, alluring. And even when you're an adult and you're like tired, or you watched like Conjuring 3 or whatever, you need a fairy tale to kind of recover, you know, because you know that no matter what happens in that fairy tale, it's going to be a happy end eventually, and things will be fine. Now, let's see. Let's try with Shrek. So Shrek is your favorite. Okay, let's imagine an alternate ending on Shrek. So, huh? Let's start with number 1. Let's start with number 1.
He's divorced.
No, that's number 2. Or number 3 was actually divorced. But it takes time to get there, you know. It's like, but let's say just number 1. So he's over there at dragon flies in, and they're over there in the just before the sun is supposed to set, and the princess, like, screw this, and she just takes the prince. I forgot his name, Humperdinck or whatever was his name. Farquaad. Yeah, no, I'm confusing it with Princess Bride. Yeah. Just like, no, that's how far I go when it comes to fairy tales. She picks the Farquaad, and Shrek remains all by himself with the donkey.
That would definitely be alternate.
So, how does that make you feel?
Robbed.
Robbed. Okay, all right. So it seems like everything was, like, what was the point, right? Let's talk about Rapunzel a little bit. She really likes Ryder. Like, he's a cool guy, adventurous and challenging and everything. But she decides to stay with her mom. like screw this. It's like, mom knows, you know, and she decides to stay with her mom. Ryder gets eventually arrested and charged with felony. Totally deserving, most likely.
I like that ending. Still very young to be involved with somebody, and he made crimes that he needs to pay.
You see a different perspective. Suddenly, you don't appreciate the fairy tale anymore, but Anna does.
The lady kidnapped her and uses her hair for use.
Oh wait, you said the mom.
Yeah.
You didn't say the fake mom.
Well, all she knows is the fake mom. Yeah. All she knows is the fake mom.
Not the real queen.
Yeah,
So we're not that forward.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Now, what's wrong? What's wrong with that kind of a fairy tale? Well, actually, what's wrong with the alternate endings? And why is it not still your favorite part? It's kind of cool. You said that, or like, it's like, what's the point? You know, you feel robbed. Why?
Because it's a reality.
Because it becomes a reality.
Yeah, fairy tale too. Not live in reality.
Suddenly you realize that princess going for the prince instead of Shrek is much more realistic, you know? Or Rapunzel having a brief fling with Ryan and then still staying with her mom, who knows? You know? Suddenly makes much more sense. Like, that's exactly, you know? We like fairy tales because they portray different possibilities in life that you will most likely never pursue. Because, well, it's just a fairy tale, you know? In fairy tales, things work out, right? But in real life, what if it doesn't work out? You can choose the safe way, or you can choose King Soopers. Only one got it. Like, seriously. This was like, okay, that joke. Okay, okay. My 40s are kicking in. That joke. Yeah, you bet.
He's the youngest one, that's why.
He's the only one who feels the dad. That's the thing. But anyways, so in life you can choose the safe way. You can choose the calculated way, and then you can also choose the way that is. It makes sense. It draws you. It pulls you. But everybody tells you no. You know. That was a stump. Did you feel like like that was not a catwalk? Now, before we read the verse, let me just ask you: have you ever delved and decided to jump into a radical change in your life without knowing 100%, or without knowing in general where is that going to take you?
Oh my gosh, maybe a few more times than I need to do that.
You make it sound exhausting.
No, I just like, I take chances on things and I'm kind of like, maybe I shouldn't take so many chances on life.
Why not?
I mean, it was really fun.
When you have
But I
nothing
could have
to
really
lose.
gotten myself hurt.
Okay, well, there's a risk involved. What did you say?
When you have nothing to lose, you just kind of improvise and just you go to zero as many times as you need to better yourself. And,
Okay, so the only time you got nothing to lose is when you're 19 and when you're 80.
Yeah.
Those are the points where you really have nothing to lose and you couldn't care less. But everything in between, there is an aspect of losing it, right? Losing something. Think about, try to think about that time when you just jumped to the opportunity, took the crazy way, and things went the way they went. Can you remember? Raise your hand if you can remember that moment in your life. Only a few of you dared. Okay. Now, would you make the same choice today?
Like the exact same one?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, definitely not. No.
You see, this is a cool thing. So the more we grow, two things happen. One thing, we grow in wisdom, but second thing, we grow in complacency. You know? Would you say that your definite 100% no is partially wisdom or partially complacency, or what is more?
Like now looking back,
Yeah.
definitely because of wisdom. I've definitely learned a lot of stuff since then. That looking back, I
No, I'm saying right now. Right now you say no.
Yeah, right now, no.
Is it because of the wisdom, or is it because of complacency, or is it because both?
Oh, wisdom.
Okay.
100%
So you
because of
dismiss
wisdom.
complacency completely.
Complacency? Well, it's because it's a very specific example, which
Okay.
I know, like, it doesn't have to do with complacency. I know it has to do with, like, oh yeah, it's because I'm a little bit wiser now, so I will not make that
It
same
was a
mistake.
bad lesson that you learned, and
Oh,
like
yes, yeah,
we're not
never,
taking
never
that.
going back. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But very often change that happens in our lives that is good for us is hindered because we are complacent. And the older you get, more complacent you will be. The older you get, more you will have tendency to make choices based on, well, what is the best definition? The definition of best actually changes. Like, we're going to make this choice because it's calculated properly and the trajectory seems fairly reasonable, and we're going to go by that. And the level of excitement in choices just drops significantly. And the level of return in those choices also drops significantly. The basic concept of change, you'll find it here. Find Book of Hebrews, chapter 13. Let's start with that. This is the basic concept in this world, not just in this world, in our lives, that defines change. So Hebrews chapter 13, if somebody would be so kind to read verse 8. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8.
Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Thank you very much. So, wherever we look around, there is a constant change everywhere. Can we agree on that? Even as the seconds are ticking, we are changing. Somebody is getting hungrier because they didn't get food. Somebody is getting sleepier because they get too much food. But there is constantly something that is changing. There is only one constant in this life, and that is Jesus. Now, how do you understand that? How do you understand what the writer of Hebrews is saying over here? Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. What do you get from that statement?
That in spite of my changes, Jesus will still be who he says he is. That I can make a decision to go left or right, and he will still be there throughout those decisions.
Okay. How about the rest of you?
Yeah, like it's a constant.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's what the verse says.
Yeah, like it's just like how Laura was saying, it's never gonna change, it's always gonna be there. So it's like a nice foundation to like land on.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter how crazy your life gets, if that one element of your life never changes, that's something you can depend on and rely on. To know like this, at least this one thing will never change.
It's a foundation.
Okay.
A
All
basic
right.
one.
So, do you find like God to be a safety net in that sense? Wherever life takes you, whatever choices you make, you know that nothing is going to... And that's why I read those words of affirmation. Because as I was contemplating on this, I was thinking like, okay, what is the reflection of constant of constants of God. And this was one of the things for me. Because before, in my Christian life, the constant was, you better make God happy. You know? You better do things right so God will look at you right. You better make sure that you don't make any mistakes so God doesn't look at you as somebody who is making mistakes. And there was like a constant, almost a threat that was actually hindering my choices. And that was keeping me resistant to change because like, okay, right now I'm good. We're good, right? Okay, let's not change anything. Let's not move anything. And that's not the idea that God gives, you know? So tell me more about that constant that you see God in. How does that constant God look like?
I was gonna say that before. I used to see God as like, well, how you were saying, like, we are good, right? Like, everything's good. I used to feel like I have to make the decision that God wants me to make the decision of. God has predestined a specific path for me to go, and if I don't take this path, then I've fallen off of that path. And understanding that God is going to be the same with whatever decision I make has honestly made me feel a lot more free in feeling like I can make silly decisions throughout my life. And knowing that if I keep him first, he's going to take care of me, he's going to protect me, and he's going to protect those around me. He's going to make it so that other people see God, even if it comes at whatever his will may be, and understanding that I can fall back on that and have confidence that he knows what's best. Even though at the moment I may not be feeling the best, he knows that in the long run, it's going to be the best for me.
All right. Okay. So, for you, the constant is not that God has expectations, but that God has love and acceptance. Mm-hmm. Okay, how about the rest of you? How would you define the meaningfulness of God's constant in your life? I love what you said. I seriously love what you said, because I share it. Come on, guys. You need help?
I did. I'm gonna. I wanted to give an example. Before I married Sean, I asked God, I was like, is he the one? And this is when I actually stopped thinking about this is the path that I need to start taking, and the only path that you have for me. And I was kind of expecting this miraculous sign showing me that Sean's going to be the one. And instead I didn't. I felt like he was really silent. And I went about my day. I went hiking. I saw some deers. I saw beautiful nature. And I still, no answer. But with that, I felt like, I'm not entirely sure if he told me this, or I felt inspired by it, or if I heard it in the sermon shortly after. But I felt like I could make the decision that I wanted to be in. And as long as I kept God first, we would have a good marriage. And if I decided that I didn't want to be with Sean, that as long as I kept God first, that he was going to be with me regardless. Whether I was with him or not, he wasn't going to be my happiness. God was going to be my happiness.
Beautiful. All right. You can jump in ahead, but we're going to get there as well. That's okay. That's fine. Uh-huh.
You are connecting about making decisions.
Uh-huh.
And you go with the prayers, I'm going to do the best decision. And you fail. And you get so badly hurt. And you say, I prayed. And God was not there. That's a human nature. Nobody can tell me it's not. Mm-hmm. And you fail on decision that you made trying to do the best, praying God, you're doing, and you get mad. We all do. Mm-hmm. And you say, I'm done. God didn't help me. And I was so confident I'm doing the right choice, making good decision. And you are so disappointed. Not just in yourself, but in your Father.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. You guys experienced that?
Yeah.
So,
I feel like you can't ever undo you can never not have, what's meant for you is meant for you. What's not meant for you, you're not going to miss it.
Okay?
How are you gonna know if you don't get hurt?
Okay, but if it's not meant for you, it didn't work out for a reason.
Okay, but the consequences is getting hurt to learn from
Yeah.
that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I personally don't believe that you have to get hurt to learn something because you can learn from the example of other people. My
I
husband's
personally
brother,
so disagree with that statement, but go ahead.
my husband's brother got to see my husband and all the things that he did, and instead of following through that, of course he made his own mistakes and everything. He learned from those mistakes, but he learned, okay, this is probably the path that I want to take because I can see how much it has hurt him.
Okay.
I
Well,
believe
no,
that you
it's-
didn't
okay,
come to that
it-
stage of life that you get so badly hurt. And you consider yourself as a smart woman, I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
With my age, I had so much experience in life. I can read people. Right, Milosh? You can read people. You can read what they
I'm
think.
still not there.
But kind of to stick to the point. So here's the thing. God is a constant in life. And he is not going to change. And if you have a connection with this constant in a sense of expectations, you will always be disappointed because your expectations and his expectations, they don't match. Your trajectory of getting from A to B and his trajectory of you getting from A to B are seldom going to be identical. At best, they're going to be parallel, but they will never completely match. So the concept of God being a constant is this, at least how I see it, how I understand it from the Bible. So God is a shoulder to lean on anytime you need. God is a source of wisdom to seek anytime you're not sure. God is, most of all, a source of support to hold you up when you doubt yourself. Because and the only thing that Bible really talks about clearly about what God is, it says God is love. It doesn't say God is a guide. It doesn't necessarily say God is a support. It says that you can go to him for all these things, but the essence of his connection with you is like, listen, wherever you are in life, I love you. Whatever choices you make, you ask me, I'll make sure to guide you so you make choices. Wherever you want to get, I'm going to get you there, but the path might not be the way you imagined it. That's why I said I strongly disagree with the concept of living a life without pain.
Oh, no, I didn't say 100%.
No, you said no, you can absolutely learn. Yeah, I mean, the most expensive lessons in life are the ones that you paid on your own mistakes. The cheapest one is the ones that you learn from somebody else's mistakes. Absolutely. But pain is a very cathartic thing that actually pushes everything else. There are no more priorities in life. Nothing is important, just the pain. Then you see clearly. Then you really see clearly more than almost any other time in life. You don't see things clearly as you see them through pain. But that's another topic. Go ahead.
A lot of time, I went through a lot of stuff in my teens and early 20s and stuff. I didn't think clearly. There was no way in heck. I went through that pain. I became more angry at times, made even worse decisions, and it took a longer road to get to the point where it should have been.
What I'm talking about is what Marina mentioned. So you ask God to guide you. You really don't know what to do. You're seeking wisdom, and you make the best possible choice you think it is, and things fail miserably from a perspective, and you get tremendously hurt. You have two options. One option is what Marina said, God, you failed me, we're done. The other option is, okay, where are you taking me with this? That just indicates how you approach this only constant in your life. Because if God is a constant, you have to approach God in a constant manner. Does that make sense? if you know that God is love, if you know that He cares for you, if you know that He guides you, whatever comes your way through your choices, through your prayers, you approach these situations in the same manner. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday when I was awesome, today when I am in fire, and tomorrow, whatever that tomorrow is, He is the same. So you approach Him the same. That's where pain brings clarity.
But it's also like, why is it every decision we fail at includes pain?
Because it's a failure, number one.
But it doesn't necessarily,
No,
but it doesn't matter how we deal with it as well. Because if we have that trust in God that, okay, I failed, but it doesn't necessarily have to coincide with pain.
oh, not necessarily, not always, but very often it does.
Okay.
Like, for example, that's my dream job, like I really want it. And you go for it, and you have a second alternative, but they have a deadline. And now, Lord, what am I going to do? No, I'm going for my dream job. You know, the deadline passes, and these guys deny you. It freaking hurts, you know? And you're like, okay, God, I'm sure you have the third solution for me, but right now this freaking hurts. That's what I'm talking about, you know? But the pain brings your attention. And now the choice is my attention going to be on the cause of the pain or on my Father who brought me to experience this pain? That's what I'm talking about. The other basic law of change is this. Find it in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. We read this. We had a whole study on this topic over here. But let's just read this first verse. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1.
For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven.
Thank you very much. Now, this verse, at least what it tells me, tell me if you hear me, it tells me that we humans are ever changing. We are constantly shifting from one state to another. God is the constant. He is the pillar. He is the star over there that you have, that you see, but you yourself, you never get in the state of being constant. Whoever you were yesterday, you're not the same person today. Maybe to like a micro level, but you're not the same because yesterday you learned something new. You know? This morning we got here, we're talking about the fat dog. And Fluffy. Yeah, denial, but never mind. But you know, I'm talking about shaving the dog. And she's like, no, you can't shave this dog. Like, why? Because it has 2 layers of hair. You know, the short hair and the long hair, blah, 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 blah. I learned something new. Like, seriously, I learned something new. I will never look at the dogs in the same manner again. You know? It's a micro change, but for me, it's a change closer to understanding the kind that we adore so much. Think about this. There is a season for everything in life. You are an ever-changing consciousness of existence. How do you put this in practical terms? How do you put this in tangible manner?
I would say that maybe it's just like being comfortable with the fact that I can make different decisions that I have in the past because I'm not the same person anymore. And it's okay to be outside of the box that you either put yourself or like other people around you put you. Because I think sometimes we do that. I know I do that a lot where I'll keep this person in this box because this is what they did and this was 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 3 years ago. And it's like, wait, but they can change just like I can change. And if I keep them in a box, I'm keeping myself in that box.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Some people never change.
I'm just arguing the opposite, Marina.
No, I agree that there is certain things that someone will not want to change, but I believe it's because they believe that they cannot change.
They believe they cannot change. here's the thing. When I say that you're an ever-changing consciousness of life, you can take that however you want. Somebody's going to say, no, you have to stick to this. And that's how I grew up. My first contact with spirituality, not with spirituality, with Christianity, like deep, real contact, not what I was brought up with. But the deep contact when I was 14 years old was exactly that one. Okay, yes, so there is God, and this is what you need to do, so everything works out well for you and you're saved when Jesus comes back. And then I was given a list, to follow, which was impossible to follow. But the idea was, you do this, you're fine for all of your life. And I see people, I went back 2 months ago to Serbia. I saw people, some people I literally didn't see in decades, and they're the same. They're the same way they act the same, they talk the same, they even look the same, like people who kept their hair cut for 3 decades. Like, Lord. But I see much more of a complacency in there than a desire to preserve what they think is right. A lot of people are stuck, but they preserve what they think is right for the sake of, and they tolerate being stuck for the sake of, like, I gotta do things right. You have the ability to change absolutely every single thing in your life. When God made us, He gave us only one thing, and that is the free will, an ability to choose. Absolutely no one can make you do anything unless you choose to obey. But here's the thing. Being ever-changing and being aware of this ability to change things, it's a dangerous gift. It's a very dangerous gift. Because once you get the taste for change, it can become insatiable. So, let's talk a little bit about this. Raise your hand if you anticipate a change in your life. A lot of you anticipate a change. Okay. Now, label it. Label the sense of it. So, hopeful, dreadful, exciting, anxious, all of the above. But try to label the anticipated change that is coming. Okay? Cool. Nobody's anxious about the changes that are coming?
Oh, I thought they all said anxious.
Oh, no. Oh, you heard that. I guess you, yeah, it's called the echo chamber. Like, yeah. Furball of anxiousness. Just keep your anxiety in the kitchen. Now, what determines how you're going to foresee change? Because it's coming, you feel it's coming, you know it's coming, you expect it coming, but you don't know.
You have to go with a positive thought.
So, you choose a positive thought. What did you say? Sorry.
You have 2 different thoughts going through your mind because you can think about the expectations, like what you're expecting of it, positiveness, but also, okay, if it goes the other way, like certain changes.
Okay.
So you always have, like, at least for me, 2 different sides of it. You're like,
So which one do you, so if you choose the positive side, you're excited. If you choose the negative side, you're anxious.
not necessarily
No?
anxious, it's just maybe, well, if this doesn't work out, then, or if that change doesn't happen, then this could happen.
Okay.
So you always have, like, a backup.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit. I asked Victor to kind of contemplate on it. Let's just, it's like 2 months, right? 2 months you guys are getting married.
3 months.
3 months. Actually, no, it's end of October. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. How long have you guys been dating?
7 years.
How long have you guys known each other?
8 years, a little bit.
Something like that. So it's like a good chunk of your guys' lives. It's like a quarter of your life, or so, right? Yeah. You already spent together. Okay. Now, how would you describe the change that's coming your way? Bless you. Actually, let me see, just see. So you're married. Okay, half and half. Okay, cool. How do you anticipate?
Stay hopeful and exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would say that. Excited for the future.
All right. Okay. And when you say hopeful and exciting, what are you hopeful about? What are you exciting about?
I guess continuing our relationship, growing together, learning each other even more, I guess. Experiences that we're going to share together.
All right. So is that something that you guys have been doing already?
Yeah. So even more of that.
So then there is no change.
No. I don't want there to be a change. Because I feel like some people think like, oh, you're married now, like your relationship has to change.
Okay.
And it's like we've been doing really good the last 7 years.
Okay.
So just because there's a ring on it, like why does our relationship have to change? Like why does society have to tell us that we have to act a certain way? Just because there's a ring, like we're married.
Okay.
And that's why like I am excited for change. I'm excited for like experiences.
That's what I wanted to know. Yeah. So that's what I'm asking. What kind of change are you anticipating?
No, I guess change would be like a kid.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only change that I see. And besides that, it's like just experiencing more things together.
So essentially, your perspective of a change that's called, like right now we're not married and in 3 months we're going to be married. The anticipation is actually that there will be no change.
For me, yeah.
Okay, now, what do you, come on, there has to be something that's going to change. You don't anticipate, absolutely, no, let's forget the kid. Unless you plan it right away.
No.
Okay, then forget the kid. So, let's talk about the next year. You really don't anticipate any kind of change?
I don't.
Okay, all right.
I don't want it to because it's like, just because like you're married, like why do you
Have to change.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
I don't know. That's how I.
Sean had his hands up like this
Sure.
for a long time. Okay. Now you want to hear this.
Her last name.
Huh?
Her last name.
She's Mexican. She doesn't change her last name.
She can if she wants to.
Are you going to change your
That was
name?
racist.
You're going to add it? Okay. Okay, I guess.
No, but through our marriage too, like,
It's just formality for you
Yeah.
guys to
Formality is going to cost a lot of
satisfy
money.
the society. It's satisfying
Yeah.
society, your parents, and that's about it. To me,
Okay.
if I'm so smart like you guys, will be different.
mine and Laura's relationship different because they live together, they've been together. Ours was
We were
two separate states
two
apart.
different states.
So living with each other, getting used to that, like, oh, there's someone in my space all the time.
Well, and I think it's learning from the past because like we went to her parents and we're like, hey, like we're gonna try to live together first, which we did things like completely unconventional. So we purposely lived because we were straight up. We're like, hey, the divorce rates are at
57%.
57%. So they're like, we're gonna live together for like 2 years, and if we hate each other, then we split. Then we split because it's like, why are we gonna spend all this time getting married, living together, and then finding each other that we hate each other after we're married?
It was difficult.
But
for
You
me
see what I'm saying?
the
So
first
like we did
year,
things
too.
differently.
Now, on the account of this, what difference, actually, what change occurs after October 28th, or whichever date it is?
For me and Sean, it was really difficult.
Let's let this guy fly away.
Our visa was like for
Jeez, that was intimidating. Yeah.
Cool. So the first maybe 3 years of our relationship after being married were a little bit difficult because everything changed. Everything changed.
You have to learn how to live
I went
with
back
that
to
We
person.
had to learn to live together.
Yeah.
There was like completely different personalities. We had to take counseling. We had to really work at it. And thankfully now we are where we are. Like, I love where we're at right now. It's really beautiful. Personally, I kind of like the way that you guys did that, because then you guys can really see, you know, if you guys work together.
But let me cling on to what you said, and we're going to finish there. You said, like, the idea was, let's just live together, you know, and figure it out if this is going to work out or not. Why, you know, it makes no sense to, you know, get married and now we realize we hate each other. So there, it would be different if you married and then start living together, or if you start living together and married. Why? Okay, you'll get. What difference would it make?
I think it'd be a lot more pressure that you're forced to make it work now.
So you're talking about the outside world more than the inside, what's happening in between you.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a commitment.
I would say the pressure, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I guess probably pressure with ourselves.
Okay.
They're like, hey, we're married now, so we have to also make it work.
Uh-huh. So after October, you will have to make it work. Less than you have to make it work right now.
Well, that's why I don't want it to change. You were saying beforehand, right?
Okay.
And you're saying now, but I think that's why we're choosing to get married, because it's like we're there.
That's
know?
it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for nodding. Now, guys, this is the absurdity of change. Number one, it's inevitable. And just heads up, things will change.
I'm sure. You know, like you said, we're constantly changing.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking about something else.
Okay.
After, things will change. But that's another topic for another time. The absurdity is this. It's inevitable, all of us change. Nevertheless, when we feel that things are in the right spot, we do not want change anymore. We want to maintain whatever it is. So technically, where we tend to get ourselves into, and this is my challenge for you to think about, is this. Things are good means I plateaued. Yeah, I might feel good, it might be good, but what if change will bring me to a higher level of existence and make it even better? No, things are good. That is where complacency in your 30s is going to kick in, and it's going to just grow unless you tame it and control it. It screwed up part of my 30s, even entering into 40s, because I allowed myself the complacency. And then when COVID came, when everything kind of crashed down, I had this, it wasn't a moment of epiphany, it was like a month of epiphany where God showed me that I am so miserably low compared to where I could be and where I should be. And that's where the downtown started. That's where I got my real estate license again. That's where we bought the airplane. That's where we kind of started pursuing things because I needed to get myself outside of this complacency. And then I caused to myself more change than I can handle. And then my dad died. And then I allowed myself to pursue complacency and then jump into the other edge of the spectrum, and I hurt myself in both of those. Now, what I want you to think about is this. Change can be anticipated. When you raise your hands, you're anticipating a change. And now, Victor rose his hand anticipating that the only thing that's going to change is that nothing's going to change. Nidia, Ray, let me ask you this. So, it's been a year now, right? She's going to be one now. So the change is kind of behind you. When you think about a year ago, just before she's going to come to the world, how would you? She knows we are talking about her. Mila, you're brilliant. Yep, you're right. When you think about a year ago and right now, do you remember the anticipation of change back then? How would you describe it?
Scary.
Scary?
I think it's a mixture of emotions, you know, it's excited but also anxious.
Uh-huh.
You know.
What made it scary? What made it anxious? I understand the excitement part, like all of us do. But this other part?
I guess for me, it was, you know, financials. I know how expensive it is, you know, getting a baby and on top of that, you know, to be provided. And also, as I was telling everyone earlier, like, I didn't realize how selfish I was with time, like my time.
Say again, sorry.
I didn't realize how selfish I was with like my time.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
That was the anxious part, like dang, I'm not gonna have like time to do things that I want.
No more video games.
Yeah, not as much.
No more time with the boys.
Yeah, no more time with the boys.
All right, now, the change came. The fear was there. The anticipation, anxiety, excitement was there. Now, right now, a year from there, do you feel that the fear and anxiety were justified a year ago? Looking at where you are right now.
Kind of in a way for me was fear because Ray was gonna go back to work and I was gonna be home alone with Sheila. That was like one of my biggest fear because what if something happened and nobody was there?
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of justified because she was a tiny little baby, but you forget that babies are really strong too. So for me now it's like, okay, like if it were ever to happen again, which I don't want it to happen again, but if it were to happen again, I know that I wouldn't be as afraid because strong babies are, even though they're frail.
They bounce well.
Yeah, yeah. So, this is great.
All right. Now, if you could go back and talk to yourself to a year from now, because you still have vividly in your memory your thought flow and everything. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing about this upcoming change, what would you say? What?
That's one thing nobody ever told me. I wish somebody did.
For me, it would be that everything was gonna be okay, because I was scared a lot and I was worried and I cried a lot. But in retrospect, sometimes I would tell Ray too. I wish I could go back and like hold myself and tell myself that everything was gonna be okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You see, this is the beauty of an anticipated change, and then you witness how it looks like after the change has passed. God designed us in a certain way. God knows that we are ever changing, and He wants us to never stop growing, never stop experiencing, but most of all, never stop fulfilling all that we are. Sometimes we feel, especially when you hit your 30s, that you have to compromise. Well, I can't have it all. You know? Huh?
I can and I will.
That's the spirit. And I agree with that, frankly. But the problem is that the society tells you, you can't have it all. No, I mean, you can have quite a bit, but no, you can't have it all. You have to sacrifice some things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Philip's always telling me that. So you don't believe that, Philip?
What?
You gotta sacrifice. You just said you can't have it all. They're always saying you have to
Sacrifice is different than compromise.
No, but Milos, yeah, but what did Milos just say? You said that you can't have it all, but then not really if you have to sacrifice some things. That's not
No,
having
wait.
it.
No, let me finish. I said society tells us that we have to sacrifice certain things to attain and retain other things. So that's not my statement. I disagree with it. I think we should be wise and pick choices and make sure to decide when are we going to do what. But I believe that if you don't end up, if you end up going through your life and there are elements of you that have not been fulfilled and you push them aside and let them die because you think that if you pursue them, you're going to lose the convenience of life you have right now, well, then they deserve to die. You know?
You know, I really agree with you about the society when it says you cannot have everything. When I moved to United States, first thing was that and just block you to reach everything you want.
Uh-huh.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they label you. You are immigrant. You're accent. You cannot have everything. And you're full of optimism. Oh, I can reach so much more.
Now you have to choose who you trust. Thank you very much. Because here's the thing. All of you guys are hitting an age where you're expected to be established. How many times when you do something like out of the box, you're told, come on, you're not a teenager anymore. Come on, you're not in your 20s anymore. You're going to start getting that more and more. Or have you ever got that act your age? Like, yeah, but the problem is this is the first time that you're this age, you know? So how do you know how to act your age? By mimicking others, you know? Because if you make your own choices,
Men will never grow up, I'll tell you that.
women, same thing. The only thing is that women are more socially conditioned than men. That is the difference. There is more pressure on women to get by the social conditioning of men. Men have this idea of freedom and do this and do that, I'm going to go and do stuff, you know. And women are like, no, you have to be taken care of, you know. Yeah, no, I'm strong, independent woman, but you still need to be taken care of. You know, that's what society keeps telling us. That's why marriage sells. Because there is a constant idea of codependency in our freedom. Where like, where we are, let me not get lost on this one. Change is inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. But what doesn't change is God and your ability to make a choice. So, there are two factors in understanding the upcoming change. First thing is the type of change. Is it positive, or how you label it? Positive or negative, anticipated or unanticipated? Second thing is, who is the changer? Who brings change to your life?
No, you're the constant. The change is around you. The change is always happening, right?
But you're changing with it.
Well, that's an outside.
The only thing that you're constant at is your conscious. I'm alive. That is literally the only thing that is constant. I am alive.
Yeah.
And that's going to change when you die, and then you're dead, and then that is a constant. But everything else about you changes all the time.
Yeah.
So the changes is internal and external as well. Okay, you say that you make a change, right? That was the girls.
He said something, I have no idea what he said to me.
Anyways, when I said who is the changer, you said I am.
Yeah, because you can choose for things to change you.
Then you are the chooser. But who is the changer?
I believe we change based on our surroundings.
Okay, true. Yes, society.
So it can go
influences
both
us.
ways,
Uh-huh.
because I can decide, depending on my surroundings, I can decide how to change or how to go.
So surroundings will drive a change. Society will drive a change, right? That is not necessarily a good change.
To a certain point, because you
Uh-huh.
still have the free will.
You choose. Yes. Okay, how can you be certain that the change that is coming your way is going to be a good change? Wait, easy.
You weigh your options.
You calculate, okay, but you, yeah. You said what?
How you determine the outcome. I have people leaving work all the time. That's a change. Like a couple of my friends left my team. You see it as a bad thing, you can also see it as a good thing. It matters how you handle the situation as well.
Okay, so it's a perspective. Whatever happens, it's a matter of perspective, not a matter of actual external event.
I say you won't know until it actually happens. Because like until the change actually happens, I don't know if it was gonna be a good or it's gonna be a bad change.
Okay, to a certain extent I would agree.
I'm gonna say the exact same thing.
All right.
I have no idea.
Okay, here's the problem. So here's the problem with this attitude towards change. When you have this attitude towards change, you're not really looking forward to it, necessarily. You might be half and half, or you might be excited about it, but there will be a sense of tremble because, hey, I don't know what is the change bringing, right? Because you are picking the wrong changer. You guys are picking the wrong changer, and that's why there is a lot of anticipation in the air as you're waiting for the change.
I feel like a lot of it though, you kind of have to end with like God willing, because you don't really know. You really, I mean, I could say what I want to do for myself by going to the gym and like counting my calories is a good change, but what if I hurt my back working out? What if I like am not actually eating the right calories and I'm just like messing my metabolism? You know, you really don't know if it's going to be a good or a bad thing, or if you even will, if you won't know for certain if you're going to make it to that point. Like, what if something happens?
But what do you know? Out of everything you said right now, what do you know?
That God is the one in control.
Thank you very much. And I think this is very important thing to calculate. Find Jeremiah, chapter 29.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Ah, yes. Then read it out loud, please.
Okay, let me
Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. This, my friends, is one of the most important things to have in mind while you are anticipating a change, because a shift happens in your head from doubt to something else. Would you please read it?
11?
Yes.
Okay. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope.
Thank you very much. I really need you guys to have this in mind as change comes your way. Sometimes change is internal, as I said, sometimes it's external, sometimes it's both. Very often, actually life is always messy. There is nothing in life that is clear cut and black and white. Everything is always messy, so there is always internal and external. But as you are going towards this change, you have to have this statement in mind. God willing, I have plans for you. Plans for good and not for evil. Plans that will bring you future and a hope. That means wherever you are right now, whatever is happening right now, God has plans that will make it better.
Can I just say with that verse, I think it's so important to like really read the whole thing, because God led them to be captured by these people, and he said, wherever I take you, make sure that you're doing my work, basically, that you're working without complaining, that you're having like, you know, that you're doing everything to make this place prosper. And then that's when he basically says, like, I have plans for you. I think it's so important to, even wherever God leads you, to know that where he puts you is the safest place to be. Because, I don't know, we could be like in the worst spot of our lives, but maybe that's where God needs us at that moment.
I'm so glad you're here. We're so like, because this is like literally next in my notes to explain what you just said. The whole backdrop for this verse is exactly what Nydia said. So Babylonians swoop in, destroy their country, they pick up everybody, take them to slavery, to exile, and they don't want to be there. Like everything is destroyed, their whole life is destroyed. And then God sends Jeremiah, and Jeremiah tells them, no. This is exactly what God wants. And they want to kill Jeremiah for being a traitor, for being a collaborator, for supporting the foreign invaders. And he's like, guys, God needs you in exile because you suck at your freedom. So you need to relearn some things. So this is the deal. You go and you live your life where you are right now, where you feel that you don't want to be. You do everything the way you want life to look like. Because God, and then he says this. God says, I have plans for you. The change hurts, which you'll find out very soon enough. But again, if you look at the change in your life through this perspective, I am reaching out to my God in honesty of my heart, asking him to guide me through life. Whatever comes my way is going to be to my good and not to evil, whatever comes my way is bringing me a future and a hope. Now, this is the matter of perspective. You'll hear people crying and rejoicing about the same change, because it depends what you put your attention to. What you put your attention to, that is what grows and becomes a prominent thing in your life. That doesn't mean it's real. It just means you chose to make a reality out of it. There are, again, piggybacking on, and I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. Thank you for, I know guys, and I remember like some friends and some people from my past, guys who didn't want to get married because they're afraid of commitment. But they've been dating for like 4 years, you know? And it's like total bullshit, excuse me. It is because they share a loan, they have a kid, and he doesn't want to propose because he's afraid of commitment. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You know? No. But he has this negative focus on one little thing that he's already been doing, but somehow ring is going to make it like seared in his finger or whatever it is, you know? But that's the focus that he chose. Sadly, a year later, they separated. They seemed fine. But this was something that was bothering her, and it was bothering him. And something seemingly insignificant became the prominent thing in their reality, in the change that they both wanted, and it drove them apart. So that's why I'm saying, like, look at whatever change it's coming your way. Might go completely differently, but you choose what is going to be prominent definition of reality of that change. And if you filter it all the time through this perspective that God's put before you, no, guys, listen, I got it figured out. It's going to be great. Yeah, it might hurt because you don't see everything that is coming. Yeah, you might get confused because things are going to go the other way, but just bear with me. That's what God is telling his people over here. Listen, for 70 years, just bear with me. And then you're going back. You're going to get your home back. You know? And they were like, well, screw this, you know? Half of them didn't want to go back after 70 years because they had that attitude that Marina described. Like, we're done. Because they failed to see the goodness of God in everything that comes their way.
I was going to say, that's why it's so important to, I think Paul says it, that in all things be thankful, in all things, in all circumstances give thanks, because I feel like it's so easy to be thankful when things are going good, but if you give thanks and the things are, where you feel like they're going bad, I feel like you'll have a better perspective later in the future of like, okay, this is where God wanted me. That kind of reminded me the other day, I get anxious when I lose things. I think it's trauma, I'm not gonna lie. But I get anxious when I lose things and I can't find it. And I remember thinking, okay, I was like, I can't find it. I'm just gonna go back inside and clean the house because Mila had like left all her little stuff on the floor. So I'm picking it up, and it took a lot of like pride out of me to like just like get back into the house and do something else besides look for the thing that I was looking for. And so I'm cleaning up, and as I was putting something in trash, it was in the trash. And I feel like when you like change your perspective, when you change like instead of being too proud to change, too proud to do something else, I feel like you won't find what you're looking for, or you won't. I guess I don't know how to explain it. It's good to be in the moment instead of just trying to think about one thing and be thankful for what it is right now.
Thank you. Live a life of eagerness to change. Because as I said, change is inevitable. Then choose a proper perspective every single day, knowing that it's coming, not knowing how it's going to look like, but be eager, because whatever is bringing good, is bringing hope in future. Otherwise, it gets really painful. It gets really rough when you start resisting change. And the reason I'm telling you this, because I'm about a decade and a half or so ahead of you guys. And I remember my 30s. As I said, my 30s got screwed up because I became resistant to change. I had an opportunity to go to a different church. That was just when we got green cards, 2012. Yeah. I had an opportunity then, but I was kind of like, nah, this, in all honesty, so our excuse was like, no, God brought us here for a reason. I don't regret it. I don't regret that decision. I feel that God blessed us through here. But now looking back, I think God had maybe a different plan, you know? But I was too complacent to go with it because I was in my mid-30s, barely got my green card. I don't want to change anything anymore. Right now I actually want to get stable. I want to get solid. I want to get grooved in. I want to get established and so on. I had my idea of what I wanted to change. And God has his idea what he wanted to change, but I made a choice. I'm calling the shots. You know, and then God had to take me through some rough times. Later on, about half a decade later, to get out of me the idea of like, be your best mediocre self. That was the idea that I had. And I lived it wholeheartedly because it was so easy. Everything was figured out. Everything was laid out. There was no more hard choices to make. There was like smooth sail. But I was treading water. That's why I'm challenging you, seriously. Be eager to change, especially when it catches you by surprise. Because unanticipated change is going to happen as well. It can come in the form of a pink slip. It can come in the form of a family loss. It can come in the form of a doctor's diagnosis. It can come in many forms, you know, good or bad. By doctor's diagnosis might be like, hey, you're pregnant, or hey, you have cancer. Been there, done that. Remember that. Yeah. But unanticipated change is where your sense of trusting God is really being tested. Not trusting yourself and the ability to carry through, but trusting God that He is taking you down the path that you need to go. Look at this, Isaiah chapter 40. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. 30 and 31. You guys will know these verses as well. But they pinpoint really well the dynamics of an unanticipated change. Isaiah chapter 40, verses 30 and 31. 40. 40. Yes. Yes, 30 and 31.
Even youths will become weak and tired, and young men will fail in exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint.
Thank you very much. This is the promise for an unanticipated change. Oh, here's another baby. I'm talking about an unanticipated change.
I was like, oh, I was scared like that.
She calls you next week, damn, you should
Unanticipated change is what we hate the most. And the older you get, the harder it hits. Because the older we get, if we are not mindful, the slower we get and more engrooved we get. The promise of the Lord is very clear here. Unanticipated change is going to wear you out. Unanticipated change is going to freak you out. Unanticipated change is going to make you really be elsewhere. You're going to get tired when unanticipated change comes. Okay, I got to share this now. Like I just, yesterday. So, that was so cool. And God really, what I'm telling you right now, that's what God gave me yesterday. I kid you not. So, there is not anymore, but there is like in Gillette, Wyoming, they have like this big worldwide Pathfinders Camporee. And there's like thousands of kids like coming from all over the world. So they have like hurricane winds and storm, insane, and floods and whatnot. So the whole thing falls apart. And now they don't have where to go, and they're trying to find places to go. So we got a call yesterday from one of the groups that was that knows that we have a gym. Hey, can we spend the night at the gym before we catch a flight back to Tahiti? And we're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And I'm like driving, and I'm reading his message in like through the church Facebook. And I, of course, didn't read it through. I just saw like, hey, we want to stay a night, and Sunday noon we have a flight back. So it clicks in my mind, okay, so it's Saturday night. Saturday night is the time when they're coming. So I had a really long day yesterday. It was like mentally and physically exhausting. I was so super tired. And I'm sitting home. It's like 8:30, and I'm slowly kind of unwinding, getting ready to pass out. And I get a message, hey, we're here. And like, I'm like, who's this? And then I see a message, and I read his message again. And they actually asked us, like 35 kids, they asked to stay overnight Friday night and Saturday night. And I'm like, okay, God, I gotta go back to church now. Okay, boost me up, because I can. Just boost me up. And this is crazy. So I sit in the car, I crank up the Pandora praise music radio, roll down the windows, it's cold, the car is like, and I just get boosted up on the way. By the time I was on Sheridan and 64th, I was like, let's do this. And I'm over there, and I apologize, I hug everybody, I laugh at everybody, and you see everybody's like, you know, and 5 minutes later, everybody was like, yeah, cool, let's go. And I realized I needed the boost, but they also needed the boost. And I realized when God brought me over there, he brought me to boost them up as well, due to like a really bad experience they had over there. And yeah, I didn't want to be there. Like I really wanted to be home and resting and everything else. And this is the brutality when God jacks you up. So I'm driving home, and I'm like, I gotta go for a ride. I gotta burn off this energy. Like this is way too much. So I go on I-25, I drive to Erie, and then I go back to Westminster. It took me like another 45, seriously, it took me like 45 minutes to calm down. And I'm like, this is awesome. I should do this more often, you know? Unanticipated change that brought me exactly what you just read in this verse. It's a micro example. You know, that was like a couple of hours where I really needed the boost because I didn't have any energy in me whatsoever, and I have no idea where that energy came from. But I also see this. I will have unanticipated change in my life hitting me again. If I approach, and it's going to be major. I know, my mom is getting old. Things are shifting in my life in some ways that I really don't have much of a control over. But I know if I maintain this attitude, the change is going to be amazing and beautiful and divine and a blessing not just to me, but to everybody around me. Same applies to every one of you. Never, ever approach to a change with an attitude, why me, this sucks. Quite the contrary. Embrace it, seek it. Be curious with new experiences in life. Learn about yourself on a more deeper level. Who you are, where God wants you, because He might not want you where you are right now. But you are not letting it go. God maybe has some amazing change after the October for you. Not talking about the kid. And it's so obvious he wants a kid, you know, he wants a boy. Maybe he has a different surprise for you. Maybe he sends you to live in another part of the country, in another part of the world. Maybe she gets a career boost and ends up getting a job as an attorney in New York City. And
She buys me everything I want.
you have it figured out. I can see that. Like, but maybe time of your travels is over. Maybe you get to know each other between 10 and 10:30 p.m. because she's so busy. But I'm just saying, yes, you don't want anything to change, but be open to it.
No, I specifically meant to like the example like you said with your friend with the ring. That's what I mean. Like your friend said, like he had such a hard time like committing. So I mean, just because you have a ring, like why does things have to? Like he was together for 4 years, but that ring, like for him, was a change.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just because we have a ring, why do things have to change? That's what I mean. Of course, are we going to change? Yes. I mean, we've changed over 7 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not thinking we're not going to ever change. I mean, that specific example.
And thank you. And it's an awesome thing to think about. Yeah, it might be a change from the external point of view, but from your internal point of view, same old, you know?
Yeah, and I know we're going to change. Of course,
Yeah.
we've changed over 7 years.
Yeah. So, be eager to dive into a change. Seek it. Yes.
Okay, I heard die, and I was like, okay.
Dive. I said dive. Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the symbolic, so you're like, okay, okay. Sometimes you might have to dive into it as well, because here's the thing, like, sometimes we cling on to some things that we think define us so hard that other things that are actually part of us die. Because I was clinging to this concept of being a pastor as I was, like back in 2015, 16, especially 15 when they gave me a full-time job. I was clinging so hard to that some other parts of me died that are actually intrinsic part of me, but I allowed them to die for the sacrifice of what I thought was the worthy sacrifice of who I was on the outside presented to the world. And then I'm finally kind of making my peace to let that go, and they ordained me in 2018. And they kind of reaffirm me, no, you gotta hold this so hard, you know? And then, as I said, when COVID came, everything internally collapsed. And I had to reinvent a lot of things that I allowed to die through the period of the previous decade, and I'm still reinventing it. I'm still discovering it, and I'm still making some radical changes because I want to fully know who I am, and I want to be fully fulfilled with every single moment of my life. And I'm not compromising anything anymore. I'm not sacrificing anything anymore. I'm just making choices that are going to take me to find fully myself. That thing bounces. You know, like, poof, 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 and then like, if it were any heavier, you just see like, yeah. That,
On that note, you may want to get some like furniture things that keeps it tied to the wall. So that way your
Uh-huh.
TV or stuff doesn't
This
go
is
off.
so heavy.
Oh, okay.
This is like at least 120 pounds.
Damn. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like,
There's no
Probably
way.
more, dude.
Yeah.
That glass thing, the heater's really.
oh yeah, yeah.
There's just some of them that are super light, but seeing how you tried to move, I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna get anywhere.
and I was so broke. That was the only furniture I could buy when I bought the house.
Oh yeah, that was the only thing that was here. It's like,
Yeah, that's the first time we came. All we had was this stuff. Yeah.
And the weather, perfect.
Yeah.
no, that first time we were here, we were unpacking the TV. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, guys, that's what I wanted to share. I think it's important. I think it's important for you to learn this lesson sooner than I did, because your life is gonna be much more fulfilled if you do that. Questions, comments?
I wanted to add too, because it happened to me a little bit ago, because I was getting really frustrated with God with my expectations. And obviously expectations and with God is just not going to match. And it was making me very bitter and resentful. And God was so cool because Mila was just like, oh, you're almost there, you're just about to get through like that hump, and it's going to be great, you're going to just feel so good, and you're going to just see God in such a good light. And I'm like, great. And like, let's talk about it after my trips. And then sure enough, throughout my entire trips, I felt like God was leading me through gratitude. And through pain and gratitude, and pain and gratitude. And just feeling so grateful in the midst of whatever situation I was. And I think that's gratitude really breaks down or takes away resentment and pride. And changes your perspective for the better.
Thank you. All right.
And I also think that when everything happens in life and things do change, before automatically reacting to it, just kind of like, I'm learning not to immediately try to react to and like responding to it, versus just feeling it out and then like first understanding what's happening, processing it, and then responding to it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Proactiveness rather than reactiveness. Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually gonna say I saw something and it actually kind of matched perfectly, and it says it's for like the people in the Bible. It says God called Abraham the father of many nations, yet the starter pack was barrenness.
Yeah.
And then also angel told Mary, "You're highly favored," but was disgraced with pregnancy to a man she wasn't even married to yet. But the thing is that they weren't like, "Oh my God, why is this happening to me?" They're like, "Oh my God, this is what God called me to be." That was their change. That was their like their starting point of like, "Oh my God, okay, this is how it's gonna go. Like, God willing, however God is gonna lead me, this is how it's gonna go."
And change might not make sense.
No.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Just because it's not rationally fitting into your box doesn't mean it's taking you in the wrong direction. That's why I say be curious when it's happening, and just ask, hey, where are you taking me? Okay, let's have a prayer. Let's close it up. Let's eat the food. So let's volunteer somebody for a prayer. Anna.
Father, thank you so much for your love, your mercy, and for allowing us to be here, gathered together to praise your name, learn your word. Thank you, Father, for community, for allowing us to reach out to each other and be able to know that whatever changes come, God willing, your will be done. Allow us to enjoy the food, community, friends, and a beautiful, wonderful next week. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you.